Hello everyone, and thanks so much for coming back and joining me for another Retro Fridays. So today I have went for a retro movie, of course, but not only have I went for a retro movie, but believe it or not, I can't believe I've done so many Retro Fridays, guys, but yet I haven't actually came on and did my pretty much favourite comedy movie, Miss Doubtfire. Now I will be honest that I will say my two all-time favourite comedies would be Miss Doubtfire and also Role Models. Sean William Scott and Paul Rudd. But it's very hard to kind of pick between the two because obviously Miss Doubtfire is a better movie, but Role Models is of course a lot more modern. But you know what? I love them both. But that is what I'm going to be talking about tonight, and I am so excited. I'm actually embarrassed that I'm only doing this now, but either way, guys, this is my favourite comedy movie. So let's roll the intro. Awesome comedic golden genius movie was directed by Chris Columbus, and I remember I was super young when I first seen this movie and I could not stop laughing. I was watching it with my dad and we were laughing so much, and I will never forget the first time that I seen this movie, and I have watched this movie so many times. I own it on DVD, of course, because it's my favourite comedic movie. Now, one thing I will say is my favourite movie genre, some people might be a bit surprised and think maybe, is it sci-fi? Is it Marvel movies? Is it DC movies? No. My favourite style of movies is comedy, actually. I love a lot of different styles of movies, but comedy is my favourite. But what I will say about this movie is not only does it star the complete comedic genius Robin Williams, who so sad that he has passed away. I absolutely love him in general. I have so much respect for him as an actor. Actually, both him and Jim Carrey would actually be two of my favourite comedic actors. Of course, they're not my only two favourites, but I think they're the two that they're very few and far between. They come along in your life basically, and comedic actors that you know of that you go, wow, they just really just take you in when you're watching them on screen. The movie was made so wonderful by literally him himself, Robin Williams. And the son in this movie, he's called Chris in the movie, but apologies, I don't know his real actor name. But basically, he was even saying in it behind the scenes that Robin Williams made this movie. He added so much heart to the movie, and I don't think that they would have been able to pull it off without him. That's what the kid said on set. And it's 100% right what he said, because he really did make this movie. And if you think of the movie without him, this movie is a very simple story, but it's fantastically written. And not only is it fantastically written, it has so much realism to it, because this is sadly something with families that goes on every day in the world, sadly. It's about Daniel, who plays, who's Robin Williams basically, and his wife Miranda, and they both divorced. They have 3 kids, very young kids, and the little girl Natalie, I absolutely love her in Matilda, and Miracle on 34th Street as well. And of course we have, is it Robert? I can't remember his last name, but anyways, you know, the guy that's that runs the TV show basically. He is in this movie as well, and he was also in the movie Miracle on 34th Street with the little girl who plays Natalie in this. And she was such a young little actress that was in so many movies, of course, and absolutely fantastic. And this movie has a perfect cast, may I add. There's no one in the movie that doesn't have fantastic acting chops. Everybody just made this movie for me. Heart-wrenching story, and it really gets you. Even though I don't know what it's like to come from a family that has been through divorce, you know, happily my mum and dad have never had a divorce. So even though I don't know how that exactly feels, it really is heart-wrenching for me to watch even still. And no matter how many times you watch it, I always cry at this movie. You laugh and you cry, and that's very hard to get those two tones within a movie. you laugh and you cry, and although it's heart-wrenching and it's can be very much real in real life, they made it into comedic gold. That is not easy to do, I have to say. A lot of you who are fans of this movie have seen the video of Robin Williams, you know, behind the scenes and stuff like that. And it took one Saturday, basically just one day, for them to come about with the wardrobe of which Miss Doubtfire was going to wear. And basically he had to wear 8 layers of foam latex overlapped over each other. And that took between 3 to 3.5 hours, on a bad day 4 hours. And the 3 little actors who played the kids, who are fantastic in this movie, may I add, they didn't even know that it was Robin Williams, obviously, until I think on the day on the set there was like hair you could see on his arm, and it actually scared them. So also I want to talk about James Bond now, because James Bond, aka Pierce Brosnan, is in this movie, and I absolutely love him as James Bond. He's definitely up there for me. Sean Connery's my favourite, but Pierce Brosnan is fantastic. I love Die Another Day. The action in that movie is unbelievable. But we're not here to talk about James Bond, but let's face it, you know, Daniel, played by Robin Williams, goes out of his way to dress like Miss Doubtfire just because he wants to spend time with his kids. And although that's hilarious, because Miss Doubtfire is hilarious, but at the same time, you also see behind the mask that that's very, very, very traumatic and very sad, because he has to do all that and go through all that just to spend a bit of time with his kids. But then, oh my, imagine the devastation. You know, this guy Stuart comes along literally looking like James Bond, you know? James Bond. So soul destroying, because not only is he dealing with the fact of not really getting to see his kids, having to go to all that effort, and then this dude comes along, James Bond comes along, and pretty much steals his ex-wife and his 3 lovely kids, and sees, you know, him obviously spending time with his kids, and that must be absolutely devastating. It's devastating to watch. So, you know, imagine being in that situation. And I absolutely love the hilarity between those 2 characters. I really love how those 2 characters connected the most. They would be my 2 favourite characters in the whole entire movie. I'll talk about a couple of the scenes that I absolutely love. You know, when he's at the poolside and they're all at the pool, and this blonde-haired girl comes along, she's in her bikini and she's asking for a drink, and, you know, of course, Robin Williams is dressed up as Miss Doubtfire and, you know, winks at her, and she asks for a drink, and it's on me. Of course, that's creepy. She's like, no, you're all right, thanks. And then Stuart comes over, Pierce Brosnan, and he's having a conversation with the guy at the bar, and long story short, he's like, oh, the father of the girl I'm seeing is a jerk. In other words, Daniel, aka Mrs. Doubtfire, and he lifts like a lime fruit. Yeah, it was definitely a lime, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, a lime piece of fruit. And he gets it and throws it right at him, and it hits him in the back of the head. Hilarious. But there's so many different moments that I love with those 2. But probably one of my favourites, actually I'll get to that in a second, when he says, oh, whereabouts in London are you from, Mrs. Doubtfire? Oh, a bit all over the place, here, there and everywhere and all this. And he's like, oh, the accent seems a little bit muddled. And they say, oh, so does your tan. Absolutely hilarious. And then Mrs. Doubtfire had taken off the, what would you call it, like the logo off his Mercedes-Benz, and you'd be absolutely infuriated if someone done this, because they're not exactly cheap, and puts it in the handbag, walks in, and then Miss Doubtfire's like, oh, is this or I found this outside. He's like, oh, that would be off my Mercedes-Benz car. He's like, oh, you own a car like that? Well, you know what to say. And he, you know, like, men with those type of cars and big flashy cars are trying to compensate for the size of their, you know, I'm not gonna say that we're gonna keep this PG, guys, you know, because family movie. It's a really awkward scene and just so uncomfortable, and you're just, a lot of the scenes you can imagine if that was in real life. Absolutely hilarious. Just the fact that he went out and he stole that off the Mercedes-Benz was just absolutely classic moment. Now, I cannot carry on this review without talking about the song, because it's been in my head since I started this review. Dude looks like a lady. Don't look like a lady. Don't look like a lady. That song, okay, right? By Aerosmith. To me, that song, I hear one or two notes and I go, Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams. And I love the song. I love Aerosmith in general. I love their songs. But to me, that's my favourite song of theirs. And when I say that to people, I really hate when they go, but it's so cheesy. And you're like, shut up, the song is amazing. And I absolutely love all the scenes when that song's playing. And he has the mop in his hand. And he's doing the electric air guitar and all with it. And then he pretends, you know, the way you can play the guitar with your tongue. And I actually have seen... I went to Belfast and seen a guitarist years ago, Paul Gilbert, you call him, if anybody's interested, Paul Gilbert, and he done it, and it was, oh my gosh, he played it with his tongue for ages. But anyways, right, the guitar, right? And I think that moment is freaking hilarious, the way he's on the ground and everything, sweeping with the mop. And you're going to laugh, but I'm just going to tell you, there has been times where I've been cleaning around the house, and I'm not going to lie, I have wanted to be Miss Doubtfire, and I have been singing Dude looks like a lady. Not even, just shut up, Jilly. But no, seriously, those moments are fantastic. And as that song's playing, Miss Doubtfire sees Stuart walking out into his car and like flips the finger at him from outside. Obviously he didn't see him, like, but absolutely hilarious, giving him the finger. You know, we get to the end, and obviously throughout the movie, you know, the two older kids find out, but the younger one doesn't. But when she finds out, it scares her so much because it's obviously in the restaurant and everything, and those scenes are absolutely hilarious, by the way, you know, just coming in and out and putting his lipstick on and having to constantly, you know, change. And of course I can't not talk about the classic, phenomenal, just amazing scenes by the one and only Robin Williams when Mrs. Sellner, who of course is the social worker who, you know, goes in for checkup visits or whatever, and I'm pretty sure her name's Anne Hannay, and I actually spoke about her because she's also in the movie Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. And yeah, I did a review of Liar Liar in case anybody's interested, but Anne Hannay is actually in this movie as well as Liar Liar, and she does a fantastic job. And I don't know how I'm sure when she was making these scenes she was laughing her freaking well ass off, because she goes into visit, and of course, you know, we see the whole Daniel changing back and forth from Mrs. Doubtfire, and he goes in and, oh, my sister makes a good cup of tea. He's like, oh, I would love a cup of English tea. He's like, oh, wouldn't we all, dear, or whatever. And then he's like, I'm going to go and get her, and then comes in. But unfortunately, the mask, that scene is hilarious. His mask comes off, falls out of his window and down onto the street and gets ran over. So what can you do? Well, what he does, of course, is he's panicking, and then he knows she's walked into the room, Mrs. Sellner, and he just sees this cake and just, and then he's like, just speaks to you, and he's like, hello! It is comedy genius, and no matter how many times I see that, I still bust out laughing my freaking well ass off. And I can remember when me and my dad watched that. My dad has this, we call my dad's laugh the hyena laugh. It's awful, but it's hilarious at the same time. But that moment, and he's making her a cup of tea, and then the cream is just dripping off his chin. Ooh, there's a sugar under cream. Ooh, wee cup of tea now. Absolutely freaking comedy genius. Robin Williams, I freaking love him. It's super, super, super sad that he is no longer with us. It is so sad. Like, honestly, when he passed away, it was so sad. I'm not even going to go there, guys. But this movie always will hold a place in my heart for just being, it's perfection, it's flawless, and to me it's a classic movie. How will you get it again? I mean, name me a movie that you have seen lately that has had such a fantastic storyline, such a fantastic comedic genius that just really reels you in and is just hilarious. And the thing is, nowadays it's all about explosions and action, and don't get me wrong, I love action movies and I love myself some cheese and, you know, all that there. And of course Marvel movies are full of, you know, all these visual effects, and I'm not complaining. I love all that, of course, obviously, or I wouldn't be covering it on my channel. But what I'm saying is why can't we have also, I like to maybe, you know what, I like to have my cake and eat it, guys. I like to get my cake and eat all of it. So why can't we have a whole cake, right? Like the cake that was in the fridge, right? in Daniel's apartment. Can we not have a whole cake where we have awesome movies like this as well that just has such heart and a brilliant storyline and a classic movie? To me, Mrs. Doubtfire can't be remade. Heck to the freaking well no, don't anybody even be thinking of touching their fingers on it, because don't be putting your paws near it. Mrs. Doubtfire cannot, should not, why would it ever be remade? It just, you can't, because you cannot refill Robin Williams' shoes, and I'm just glad that no one has touched that movie. And like, literally, please, no one ever touch that movie, or you'll never hear the end of it from my channel. But I want to also say that the ending just don't even, when he's in the court and everything, and you can really see Miranda's face, she's just like, wow, he just wants his kids. And I think she really realizes like what he has been going through. And all those court scenes are just absolutely traumatizing to watch. And then at the end, when, you know, he's on the television and the kids are at home watching it, and he's on the TV, obviously he's on the set and they're at home watching the TV, and I always know when I'm about to cry. It's the exact same moment every time, like telling the whole thing, like sometimes families get back together, sometimes families don't, sometimes families live in different houses, sometimes families live really far away. And I'm even getting emotional talking about it, guys, but I don't want to look like a complete another loser, like, and cry on my YouTube channel. But yes, it's heart-wrenching. But as an overall thing, it's just hilarious. But it's so hard to get that balance, guys, as I was saying earlier. It's very hard to get something that really emotionally draws you in with all the characters in the story, and also be hilarious and just warm your heart at the same time. And I think Robin Williams really just, he just done it for so many people around the world with this movie. He killed it in Miss Doubtfire, and the cast, everybody that worked on this movie did a phenomenal job. So yeah, I love this movie from start to end. I could sit here and tell you lots of other scenes that I love from the movie, but honestly, I would be here all day, guys, because it's just amazing from start to end, basically, is what I want to say. And I want to ask everyone, you know, what do you think of the movie? Do you like Mrs. Doubtfire? What is your favourite Robin Williams movie, if you have one? And thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate the support. As usual, guys, I will embarrassingly get this out of the way. It's never expected, but just to let you all know, I do not make any money from this platform, YouTube itself, and I never have done. I've been on here 2 years now, but I often get people ask if I have Patreon, if I have this, if I have that. I have nothing like that, and I can't make any super chats or anything like that, because you actually have to be monetized on YouTube in order to be able to get that. I do not want to be monetized with YouTube. It's my choice. I don't want to be, and I want this to be an advert free channel that you can come to and know that you're going to click the video and you're not going to get an advert, basically. And if you do get an advert, it's basically because maybe I've played something in my video that the company has claimed, basically. But other than that, I wanted to say, if you would like to donate towards my YouTube channel, whether it's $1, $2, $3, whatever, I will put the link to my PayPal account that I have set up down in the description of this video, and also down in the pinned comment. But other than that, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone for coming along and watching. You've took your own personal time to come and watch, so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Hope you are all keeping well, and I will talk to you soon, guys. Bye.